So as some of you may know, I recently made a video talking about switching over from Windows to Mac, and without spoiling the video too much, basically the change was like totally revolutionary and just like a total breath of fresh air. My next thought was, well, if the MacBook is so fantastic, hey, a new iPhone came out, why don't we give that a try? Let's see if it's just as good. And so this video is going to be talking about my experiences with the iPhone 14 Pro after being pretty much a lifetime Android user. The first few days of using this iPhone were extremely frustrating, but as I got to use the phone more and kind of learn the iPhone way of doing things, I realized, guys, honestly, the difference between iPhone and Android is nowhere near as drastic or significant as I thought it was going to be. For example, one of the first things you always hear is the Android phones, they have a built-in back button. And so in theory, it's really easy and intuitive to go back. If you just want to like close the keyboard or go back on an app, you just always, every single time, you've got a back button. Turns out, guys, the iPhone solution is totally fine. Depending on how the app functions, you either swipe to go back or you press a button on the top. It works fine. Another major frustration, the swipe gestures on the iPhone are much more intentional. And so what I mean by that is if you want to reach the notifications, you want to check your notifications, you have to 100% very clearly swipe from the top, okay? What's nice about the Android operating system is you don't have to be quite as intentional and it kind of just understands. So for example, I don't have to swipe from the very top. I can actually swipe down from the middle. And then if I want to like do flashlight or something, I just swipe down one more time and what do you know? The flashlight button is like right where my thumb is. On iPhone, you just can't do that, dude. and you know, this is an expensive phone. So honestly, the one-handed gamble of being able to reach the top of the screen, this is an iffy operation. Someone will mention probably, well, Michael, if you swipe down from the bottom, hang on. If you swipe from the bottom, there we go. If you do this little gesture on the bottom, it'll push the top of the screen down and then you can check your notifications like that. On iPhone, you have to go like this, and then you can swipe from here. And then there's your tools. So there is a way to do it. But obviously, this is a little bit more annoying and slower to do than the very simple and intuitive Android thing. Another annoyance is the lack of a fingerprint scanner is genuinely, again, just slower. Don't get me wrong, Face ID is awesome, but there's definitely circumstances where Face ID just isn't working. One use case for me, and maybe it's niche at this point, I don't know, maybe you all have new cars, but I still have like a car mount, and so the Face ID never works. And so I always, probably shouldn't admit this, while I'm driving right on the iPhone, you have to punch in your PIN to access your phone. But on Android, you could just, without even looking, like it's actually way safer. You could just, boom, unlock your phone. Oh yeah, I definitely miss, by the way, multitasking. Let's say you want to do some mathematics and you want to add up some things that are on a note document. With Android, I just go like this. I go bam, I open in split screen view. And now I have a beautiful calculator and the notepad in one thing and I can just do some mathematics. On iPhone, that does not appear to be a feature. It's a nice feature to have, but honestly, it's not that big of a deal to jump back and forth. And since app switching is so easy on the iPhone, to be honest with you. So on the iPhone, the swipe gesture thing is actually pretty dang cool. So you can jump back and forth between apps just by swiping at the bottom. So low key, the multitasking thing, not as big of a concern. One thing I'd love to address is iPhone users always kind of rant and rave about certain features that they consider exclusive to the iPhone. And to be honest, other than a few exceptions, like you could do exactly the same thing on an Android. And in some cases, those features have been a thing on Android way longer than iPhone, right? There's some exceptions, like I was saying. I mean, is it cool that I can copy something on my MacBook and then paste it on my iPhone? Yes, totally. That's super cool. I just so far haven't found anything like that where it was like life-changing. It wasn't like, oh my God, this is incredible, dude. This is, gonna fix everything. Another one that I just cannot figure out is iMessage. I understand that there might be some minor benefits to using iMessage, but so far I don't see any like meaningful, gigantic differences. At the end of the day, it's just text communication with other people. But please let me know if there's some like magical sauce to iMessage. I just haven't found it. I can't figure out what all the rage is about. There is one major thing that I ran into with the iPhone, and it's the main reason I'm honestly returning it. Well, I've got two main reasons, and we'll get to the other one. I don't think I mentioned to you guys before, but like I've been making a lot of changes in the past year or two. One of those changes is dealing with my social media addiction, 100%. Like, you know, just the insane swiping addiction we all have now on Instagram and everything. But one of the main things that has helped me improve that is an app that works on my computers and on my phone, and it's incredible, and I love the app. The app that I use that blocks apps and websites on my Android, while it is offered on the iPhone, it's basically neutered to the point where it doesn't really work reliably or at all. Now you might be wondering what happened to the app. Why is it neutered? It's because Apple offers now their own app blocking and website blocking features. That was definitely a bit of a scary thing to encounter, where something I wanted to be able to do or an app I wanted to have was basically not available because of Apple. Moral of the story is, I bought this iPhone because I thought it was going to be kind of revolutionary and change my life, and it was going to be just as incredible as the MacBook was. But what I found is, honestly, the differences between Android and iPhone now are so like just kind of small and relatively just unimportant that it doesn't really matter as much as it used to. Like, is it really that big of a deal? The ability to swipe from the top or swipe from the middle? This is insignificant. Like, it's not that big of a deal either way. About the only flaw with the iPhone, like I said, is the app restriction. Definitely sucks that they basically killed a really important app to me. Like, it's I need that app. I'm not cured. As much as I love this phone, I love the hardware, I love the build quality, the speakers on it are fantastic, the camera's amazing. There's a lot of things to love about this phone, and I'm gonna talk about that in another video. Ultimately, what I realized is the phone that I have now is still fantastic. It still works great. It isn't holding me back in any way. And while I may totally buy an iPhone someday, it'll probably be my next phone, like in a couple years, I realized the difference is so minor now that I might as well just keep using the Android until it actually dies. Because this thing, I think, still has plenty of life. All right, that is the end of this video. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.